I'm using him to get over my ex until I find a real man. He should be grateful for the experience. My fiancée told her therapist. I thanked her for clarity and walked out. Now she's losing it, why I canceled the wedding. Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. Sup, Reddit. I still can't wrap my head around the nuke that just dropped on my life. My engagement is over, and the way it ended? Straight up shit show material. She wanted to work through some issues before the wedding. Yeah, it didn't go how she planned. Here's what went down. Some background first. I'm 34 male, a mechanical engineer at a defense contractor. Decent money, solid 401k, own my place. I've always been the responsible type. My dad walked out when I was 12, so I basically grew up watching my mom struggle to make ends meet. Made me determined to have my shit together as an adult. I met Chloe, 30 female, 3 years ago. She works in pharmaceutical sales. Smart, gorgeous, and has this way of making everyone feel like they're the most important person in the room. Classic extrovert to my introvert. We moved in together after 14 months, and I proposed on our 2-year anniversary. Wedding was set for this coming October. Venue booked, deposits paid, save the dates sent. Everything seemed great, or so I thought. Looking back, I should have paid more attention to the red flags, especially her cousin Madison, 29 female. Madison is the type of woman that makes men's skin crawl, constantly posting inspirational quotes about knowing your worth, while burning through relationships like matches. 3 divorces by 29, always someone else's fault. She's the brutally honest friend who's heavy on the brutal, light on the honest. Designer knockoffs, vocal fry, and a permanent sense of entitlement. Madison has been in Chloe's ear since day one of our relationship, always with the backhanded compliments. It's so refreshing that Chloe doesn't care about a guy's looks. Or, you're lucky Chloe doesn't mind dating someone who isn't, ambitious. To my face. And Chloe would just laugh it off like it was the funniest thing ever. Things started getting weird about a month ago. Chloe became distant, constantly texting with Madison, going out for cousin nights multiple times a week. She started making odd comments about our relationship being a safe space and how she appreciated my stability. Not exactly the passionate language you want to hear from your future wife. Then last Thursday, Chloe suggested we do a therapy session together. Says she's been seeing this therapist, Dr. Winters, for a few months to work through some unresolved issues about her ex, Kyle. This dude was apparently the love of her life who dumped her for her college roommate 4 years ago. I knew about Kyle, but Chloe always made it sound like ancient history. Madison thinks it would be really helpful for us, she said, not meeting my eyes. She says couples who do pre-marriage therapy have stronger bonds. Something about her tone set off alarm bells, but I ignored them. I wanted her to be in a good headspace for our marriage. That's what a supportive partner does, right? The morning of the appointment, I overheard Chloe on the phone, speaking in that hushed, conspiratorial tone she only used with Madison. Yes, today's the day. Dr. Winters thinks it's best to be honest. I know. But Madison, I can't keep pretending. Yes, I'll call you right after. My stomach tightened, but I told myself it was just wedding stress. Maybe she was having doubts about the big party, or wanted to scale back. Normal stuff, right? We get to Dr. Winters' office. The session starts normally. Dr. Winters is a professional-looking woman in her 50s who asks about our relationship timeline, wedding plans, etc. Then she asks what specific issues we want to address. Chloe straightens up and says, "Cool as ice. I want to discuss my transition plan. I've been using this relationship to heal from Kyle and work through my abandonment issues before I find someone I actually want to spend my life with." I literally felt my stomach drop through the floor. Dr. Winters looked as shocked as I felt. "Chloe," Dr. Winters said cautiously, "is this something you've discussed with your fiancé before?" Chloe laughed. "God, no. But he should be thankful, honestly. He gets a hot fiancé who's way out of his league, and I get emotional stability while I prepare for my real husband. It's transactional, but we both benefit. It's just smart emotional economics." Dr. Winters' face went white. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. I calmly stood up, looked at Dr. Winters and said, "Thank you for your time. This has been enlightening." Then I walked out without another word. Chloe's face when I stood up to leave? Priceless. That smug smile vanished real quick. "Wait, Alex, we still have time left. Where are you going?" I didn't even look back. Got in my Tacoma, turned off my phone, and drove straight to my buddy Trent's place. Trent, 34 male, has been my best friend since college. Former Marine with zero filter and the only person I trust completely. I must have looked like death when he opened the door, because his first words were, "Dude, who died? You need some water or something stronger?" Something stronger. Lots of it. 3 shots in, I explained what happened. Trent's reaction was exactly what I needed. Hold up. She said what? In front of a freaking therapist? That's next level psycho, bro. He started laughing, which made me laugh, which was the first time I'd felt human since walking out of that office. You know what this calls for? Trent grinned. Operation Shock and Awe. By midnight, we had a plan. I crashed on Trent's couch, and at 6 a.m. the next day, while Chloe would still be asleep, she never wakes up before 9. We executed phase 1. I turned my phone back on. 50 missed calls, 23 voicemails, 70 texts. The progression was fascinating. Where are you? Why did you leave like that? You're being ridiculous. It wasn't what it sounded like. You need to come back so we can finish the session. Answer your damn phone. Are you seriously ghosting me right now? My cousin Madison thinks you're being emotionally abusive by not responding. I'm calling your mother if you don't answer. Trent read the text over my shoulder and almost choked on his coffee. Her cousin thinks you're abusive? The same cousin who got caught screwing her sister's husband at their baby shower? Yes, Madison. Chloe's cousin and self-proclaimed relationship guru. I arrived home with Trent and 2 other friends as witnesses. Chloe was out, probably at Madison's plotting her next move. We changed the locks, garage code, and all electronic passwords in under an hour. I transferred her essential stuff, medications, toiletries, enough clothes for a week, into boxes and left them with the property manager with instructions to give them only to Chloe. Then I called my lawyer. Confirmed that since she wasn't on the deed or mortgage and we weren't married yet, I was within my rights. The 5-carat engagement ring, though, that was legally a conditional gift predicated on marriage. Mine to reclaim. I sent one text. Your essentials are with Frank at the property office. You have until Tuesday to arrange removal of remaining belongings. The engagement ring should be returned with your keys. Any attempt to enter the property without prior arrangement will be considered trespassing. Then I blocked her number. Checkmate. The fallout was immediate. Within hours, her best friend Jenna was blowing up my phone. What the actual fuck, Alex? Chloe's sobbing at my place saying you kicked her out over a misunderstanding in therapy. Jenna, she literally told her therapist she's using me as emotional practice before finding her real husband. Those were her exact words. Long pause. There's no way. Ask her. Word for word. I blocked Jenna too. Oh, and I forgot to mention, first thing Friday morning, I called the wedding venue, photographer, caterer, and every other vendor to cancel everything. This was tricky because her parents had covered about 80% of the deposits. Not because they were generous, but because Chloe had convinced them she needed a lavish, Instagram-worthy wedding to establish her personal brand. I'm talking $85,000 for a custom venue with lake views, $12,000 photographer who usually shoots for celebrities, custom designer dress that cost more than my car, ice sculptures, drone show instead of fireworks. The works. Her parents were basically bankrolling their daughter's social media fantasy. They'd already dropped nearly $50,000 in non-refundable deposits. I could have just walked away and let them deal with it, but I'm not that petty. I called each vendor, explained the situation, keeping it vague, just relationship ended due to breach of trust, and asked about their cancellation policies. Most were surprisingly understanding. A few even offered partial refunds if they could rebook the date. I sent a mass email to all invited guests with the subject line, "Wedding canceled," and a brief, dignified explanation that circumstances have arisen that make this marriage impossible. By Saturday morning, Madison showed up at my door. Madison with her fake Louboutins, live, laugh, love personality, and that smug expression like she's perpetually winning an argument no one else is having. I only opened the door because Trent was with me. Alex, this has gone too far. Chloe's a wreck. Hello to you too, Madison. Look, she misspoke in therapy. Dr. Winters was asking leading questions, and Chloe was exploring hypothetical feelings. That's what therapy is. Did Chloe tell you exactly what she said? Madison shifted uncomfortably. She said you misunderstood something she said about working through issues. Madison switched tactics. You can't legally evict her without notice. She has tenant rights. And what about the wedding? Do you know how humiliating it is for her to tell everyone it's canceled? Her parents have spent a fortune on this wedding. Trent stepped forward. Actually, she has no lease, pays no rent, and her legal residence is still her parents' address according to her driver's license and tax returns. She's a guest who's been asked to leave. And as for the wedding, he shrugged. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Madison left, but not before saying, "This isn't the end of this, Alex. Chloe's dad is calling his lawyer friend. You've embarrassed their entire family. Do you know how many society pages we're going to cover this wedding?" I smiled. Great. My lawyer would love to discuss the documented admission of fraud and misrepresentation entering into a marriage contract. Should be an interesting conversation. That night, Chloe's parents called. Her dad was livid. "You think you can humiliate my daughter like this? Cancel a wedding without even talking to us first? Do you know how many of our friends and business associates were invited? We've spent over $50,000 already." "Mr. Bennett, did Chloe tell you exactly what she said in that therapy session?" "I don't care what was said. You don't just walk out on a 3-year relationship over one comment. We've invested everything in this wedding. My wife's been planning this for a year. Would you want that for your daughter? To marry someone who saw her as a stepping stone?" Silence. "The vendors have been paid through the end of the month," I continued. "If Chloe finds someone else to marry in the next 3 weeks, the deposits are all hers." He hung up on me. Progress. Sunday brought a new level of drama. Chloe's mother called again, this time with a completely different tone. "Alex, look, everyone says things they don't mean sometimes, especially in therapy. The important thing is that Chloe loves you. The wedding is only 4 months away. We've already paid the florist in full. My sister is flying in from Australia. I'm sorry about the inconvenience, but I'm not marrying someone who sees me as an emotional practice dummy." Her voice hardened. "You know, Chloe told us you had commitment issues because of your father leaving. Is that what this is about?" That was a low blow. "Actually, it's because I respect marriage too much to enter into one with someone who explicitly stated she's using me to prepare for her real husband. But nice try with the amateur psychology. Well, we've already spoken to our attorney. You can't just back out of a wedding this close without consequences. There are financial implications. Your attorney should familiarize himself with breach of marital contract due to fraudulent representation. I have a therapist's documentation that your daughter admitted to entering our engagement under false pretenses." She hung up. 10 minutes later, Chloe's dad called back. "Listen here, you little shit. I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but you're not going to embarrass my family like this. We have important people coming to this wedding. Business associates, friends from the club. You think you can just walk away? We paid for half that reception. Actually, sir, I paid for 70% of the reception. I have the receipts. And yes, I can just walk away, especially when your daughter admitted to using me as emotional training wheels. You haven't heard the last of this. Chloe is devastated. Devastated that her plan fell apart, maybe. Meanwhile, Chloe was going full Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction. She showed up at my office building Monday morning wearing what I can only describe as I'm totally stable cosplay. Hair perfectly styled, full makeup, wearing the dress she knew I liked, carrying coffee and pastries like we were having a normal morning meetup. Security called up to warn me. I watched from the window as they refused to let her in. The transformation was instant, from sweet smiling girlfriend to raging banshee in 2.5 seconds. She threw the coffee at the security guard, screamed that she was Alex's fiancé, you minimum wage rent-a-cop, and had to be escorted to the sidewalk. Note to self, send that security team a gift basket. Later that day, I discovered something that sent my blood pressure through the roof. Chloe had been dipping into my savings account, the one I'd given her access to for emergency purposes only. $15,000 gone over the past 6 months. The most recent withdrawal was 2 days ago, after the therapy session, for $3,000. I immediately called my bank, reported the unauthorized withdrawals, and changed all my financial passwords. Then I did something that would prove to be nuclear. I emailed Dr. Winters, waiving my confidentiality for our joint session, and asked if she could provide documentation of what was said, as I believed Chloe was now stealing from me and spreading falsehoods. Dr. Winters responded professionally, providing a formal letter confirming Chloe had, unprompted, stated she was using our relationship as emotional preparation before finding someone she actually wanted to marry, and expressed surprise when questioned about whether I knew this. Dr. Winters noted she was professionally concerned about Chloe's apparent lack of empathy and potential manipulative behavior patterns. I forwarded this letter to my lawyer, along with the bank statements showing the unauthorized withdrawals. I know about the $15,000 you've taken from my savings. You have 48 hours to return the money and the engagement ring, or I'm filing police reports for theft and fraud. Her response was immediate and unhinged. You can't do this to me. I made you. Before me, you were nothing. Just some boring engineer nobody wanted to date. I gave you the best years of my life. Ah, yes, the best years. where she apparently considered me a practice boyfriend while waiting for someone better. Fascinating definition of best. Monday morning brought chaos. Chloe showed up at my workplace again, this time with a completely different strategy. She was waiting in the parking lot with a huge "I'm sorry" banner, a teddy bear the size of a small child, and enough tears to fill an Olympic swimming pool. The security team, bless them, intercepted her before I even pulled in. My boss, who's known me for 7 years, called me into his office. "Alex, there's a woman downstairs claiming you've stolen her property and locked her out illegally." Then she switched to saying, "You're the love of her life and she made a terrible mistake." Then she accused you of emotional abuse. Then she asked if we're hiring in sales, all within 5 minutes. Should I be concerned? I pulled out my phone and played the audio recording I'd made of Trent's conversation with Madison, where she admitted Chloe's legal residence was still her parents' house. Then I showed him the letter from Dr. Winters and the bank statements. My boss's eyes widened. "Jesus, I'm sorry, man. Take the week off if you need it, and we'll alert security not to let her in again." He paused. "And no, we're definitely not hiring in sales." By afternoon, Chloe's desperation had evolved into a bizarre PR campaign. She'd posted a 15-minute crying video on Instagram titled "The Truth About My Broken Engagement," where she claimed I had misunderstood her therapy session, that I was emotionally stunted due to my childhood, and that she was standing by ready to forgive me when I came to my senses. The video featured strategic tears, careful makeup to look like no makeup, and a scripted, spontaneous emotional breakdown that would make reality TV producers jealous. Trent texted me, "Dude, Chloe's Insta video is like watching a documentary about narcissism. 15 minutes of crying without a single actual tear falling. Oscar-worthy." That afternoon, I went nuclear. I'd discovered Chloe had been bad-mouthing me to our mutual friends, claiming I was financially controlling, emotionally unavailable, and had anger issues. She was also claiming the ring was a gift, not conditional on marriage, and that she intended to keep it. So I did what any self-respecting man would do. I made a private Instagram story, visible only to our mutual friends. No caption, just screenshots of the bank withdrawals. Dr. Winter's letter, with sensitive info redacted. The text from Chloe to her friend, which Trent's girlfriend had forwarded me, saying, "Alex is so boring in bed, but his 401k is hot, counting down until I find someone with both." A photo of the receipt for the engagement ring clearly marked "engagement ring" with the $21,500 price tag visible. A screen recording of Chloe's 37 calls in one day after I blocked her number. A screenshot of Chloe's dating profile, created 3 days after the therapy session, describing herself as "newly single, living my best life." No commentary needed. Within hours, the tide turned dramatically. Friends who'd been calling me cold and heartless were suddenly sending apologetic texts. Even Jenna reached out. "Holy shit, Alex. I had no idea. I'm so sorry." Chloe's response was to double down on the crazy. She showed up at my condo at midnight, somehow convinced the night doorman she was still a resident, he was new, and tried to use her old key. When it didn't work, she started pounding on the door, screaming that I was ruining her life, and that I owed her for wasting her youth. The police were called. They arrived to find Chloe sitting in the hallway outside my door, surrounded by takeout containers and empty water bottles, scrolling through our old photos and alternating between sobbing and cussing me out to anyone who walked by. The officers were remarkably patient as they escorted her out, informing her that she could be charged with trespassing if she returned. Her parting words to the officer? "I shit you not," she screamed. "You don't understand. I'm too pretty to be dumped. This isn't how this works." Pretty to be dumped. This isn't how this works. Trent's response when I told him was perfect. "That's not revenge, bro. That's just the truth with receipts. If the truth ruins her, that's on her. Also, too pretty to be dumped is going on a t-shirt ASAP." By Tuesday, Chloe's carefully constructed image was collapsing faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. Turns out I wasn't the only one she'd been using. She'd borrowed money from multiple friends, claiming medical emergencies that never existed. She'd been bad-mouthing her best friends to each other, creating drama, and then positioning herself as the peacemaker. Madison, hilariously, was the first to turn on her. After seeing my Instagram receipts, she posted a long Facebook rant about toxic people who use family loyalty to manipulate others. Apparently, Chloe had been sleeping with Madison's new boyfriend, while simultaneously advising Madison to take things slow with him because he seems untrustworthy. Top-tier betrayal from someone who literally wrote "loyalty" in cursive on her wrist. Chloe's response? A complete meltdown that managed to burn every bridge she had left. She went on an Instagram live rant at 2 a.m., clearly intoxicated, where she called Madison a failed Instagram model with fake boobs and faker personality, claimed her parents never supported her dreams and were obsessed with appearances, said all her friends were basic bitches who were jealous of her, insisted I was her backup plan all along and she was about to dump me anyway, threatened to expose everyone's secrets if they didn't stop taking Alex's side. It was like watching someone nuke their entire social life in real time. The chat was a mix of horrified former friends and gleeful popcorn-eating strangers who'd stumbled across the train wreck. She finally ended the stream by throwing her phone, which gave viewers a lovely spinning ceiling shot before cutting out. The real bomb dropped when Kyle, yes, the ex she was supposedly healing from, reached out to me through LinkedIn. Hey man, you don't know me, but I dated Chloe years ago. I'm seeing some mutual friends posting stuff and someone mentioned my name was coming up. Just wanted to clear the air. I never dated her seriously. We hooked up a few times in college, but when I started dating her roommate, now my wife, she created this whole narrative about me being the one who got away. My wife says she's been telling this story for years. I forwarded this to Trent, who responded, "The plot thickens. The Phantom X was just a hookup? She built your entire relationship on a lie about healing from a relationship that never even existed. It's like discovering your girlfriend's tragic backstory was plagiarized from a Lifetime movie." Meanwhile, Chloe was spiraling. She'd shown up at Trent's apartment looking for me, clearly not in her right mind. He recorded the entire interaction, legal in our state with one-party consent. Highlights included, "Alex is nothing without me. Do you know how many men would kill to be with someone like me? I was doing him a favor by being with him. He should be thanking me. The therapist tricked me into saying all that stuff. She's just jealous because I'm younger and prettier. I deserve that ring. Do you know how many boring dinners with his nerd friends I had to sit through? He'll never find anyone as hot as me who'll put up with his boring engineer lifestyle. Trent, bless him, just let her rant while the camera rolled." When she finally ran out of steam, he simply said, "Feel better now? Great, because that's all on video. You might want to rethink your next move." She left in tears, but not before knocking over a plant in his entryway and hissing, "You were always jealous of what Alex and I had." Trent texted me afterward, "Pretty sure what you had was Stockholm Syndrome, my dude. Also, she owes me a new fern." By Wednesday, Chloe had entered the bargaining phase. She sent a series of increasingly desperate emails. "Alex, I know I messed up, but we can fix this. I'll go to therapy, real therapy this time. What if we postpone the wedding instead of canceling? I wrote down all the things I love about you. There are 12 things. 12. 12 whole things after 3 years. And I'm guessing at least 5 were about my income or property." The real Chloe had finally revealed herself, and it wasn't pretty. It was like watching someone rip off their human mask to reveal the lizard person underneath. Except that's an insult to lizards, who at least have functional loyalty instincts. When I got back to my condo that evening, there was a manila envelope taped to my door. Inside was a handwritten letter from Chloe. 10 pages of what looked like stream of consciousness, rambling about how I'd misunderstood her intentions, and how we were meant to be together. She claimed the therapy session was just her working through hypothetical scenarios, and that Dr. Winters had misconstrued her words. The letter ended with, "I know we can get past this. I've already talked to the venue and they're willing to reschedule for December. Please call me. I miss our life together." Our life together. The one where she was secretly counting down the days until she found someone better while draining my savings account. That life. I shredded the letter, but not before noticing she'd sprayed it with her perfume. The manipulation never stops with these people. They think one whiff of familiar scent will override your entire frontal lobe and make you forget they were planning to discard you all along. Thursday morning, I walked into my office to find a massive bouquet of roses on my desk with a card that read, "Forever yours, even when you're being stubborn." See, my coworkers were eyeing me with a mix of curiosity and concern. I grabbed the flowers, walked straight to the break room, and dumped them in the trash. My colleague Dave witnessed the whole thing and just nodded approvingly. "Ex problems? You have no idea," I replied. He shrugged. "Been there. My ex-wife tried to win me back by showing up naked under a trench coat after I caught her with my brother. Some people just can't take an L." By Friday, exactly 1 week after the therapy session, Chloe's parents had apparently reached the acceptance stage. Her father called, his tone completely different from our previous conversations. "Alex, I owe you an apology. We spoke with Dr. Winters yesterday. Chloe signed a release allowing us to discuss the session. I had no idea. My wife is devastated. We raised her better than this. I appreciate that, sir. The wedding expenses, that's on us. You were right to walk away." I would have done the same. He paused. For what it's worth, I always thought you were good for her. Stable, honest, qualities she clearly doesn't value enough. After we hung up, I felt a strange sense of closure. At least her parents weren't in denial anymore. That weekend, I removed every trace of Chloe, photos, trinkets, the little sticky notes she used to leave on the fridge, all packed up in boxes and stored in my garage until she arranged pickup. Trent and I hit the gym, then went for a hike in the mountains. The fresh air and physical exertion were exactly what I needed. For the first time in a week, I didn't check my phone once in 4 hours. When I did check it, there was a text from an unknown number. This isn't over, Alex. You think you've won, but you have no idea what's coming. People like you don't get to reject people like me. I showed Trent, who just laughed. Classic. People like me? What, manipulative liars who use people as emotional stepping stones? Yeah, real catch there, Chloe. I blocked the number and kept hiking. The following Monday, Chloe escalated to a new level of crazy. She showed up at my parents' house in Connecticut, a 5-hour drive from our city, claiming she was worried about me and wanted to make sure I was mentally stable. My mom, bless her heart, called me immediately. Alex, there's a woman here saying she's your fiancé and that you're having some kind of breakdown. She seems off. Mom, that's Chloe. We broke up last week after she admitted she was using me as practice for her real husband. She's been harassing me ever since. Do not let her in. Call the police if she won't leave. My mom, who raised 3 boys on her own after my dad left and doesn't take crap from anyone, didn't miss a beat. Oh, I see. Don't worry, I'll handle this. Later, she told me she'd said to Chloe, my son doesn't have a breakdown when he takes out the trash. He just gets a new garbage can. Good luck with your real husband hunt, honey. I suggest looking somewhere your reputation hasn't preceded you. Savage. I come by it honestly. By the 2-week mark, things had settled into a strange new normal. Chloe had gone from rage to bargaining to depression, cycling through tactics like a telemarketer working through a script. One day she'd send threatening emails. The next day, sobbing voicemails from new numbers. She even sent a singing telegram to my office. An unfortunate college student dressed as Cupid, who looked deeply uncomfortable delivering a message about eternal devotion to a stone-faced engineer surrounded by equally uncomfortable coworkers. I handed the kid an extra $50 and said, tell her it was delivered to the wrong person. Trent and I had started a betting pool on what she'd try next. So far, he'd won with showing up at your mom's house, and I'd won with singing telegram. My money was on fake pregnancy scare for the next round. Trent was betting on showing up with a therapy dog claiming it's part of her healing process. It all came to a head 3 weeks after the therapy session when Chloe finally returned the engagement ring. Sort of. She left it with my building's doorman in a small velvet box. When I opened it, I discovered it wasn't my ring at all, but a cheap cubic zirconia knockoff. I texted her directly, where's the actual ring? The $21,500 one. Not this Home Shopping Network special. She replied immediately, oops, must have gotten them mixed up. I have so many rings, you know. But if you want the real one back, we need to talk in person. Dinner tomorrow? I forwarded the exchange to my lawyer, who called her parents directly. The real ring was returned via courier the next day with a note from her mother. We are so sorry. We've arranged for Chloe to stay with her aunt in Michigan for a while. She needs help that we should have gotten her years ago. It's been 2 months since the therapy session that changed everything. The aftermath has been both devastating and strangely liberating. Chloe eventually returned the ring after my lawyer sent a formal demand letter threatening legal action. She did not, however, return the $15,000. Instead, I received a counter-demand from a sleazy lawyer claiming emotional distress and defamation. My lawyer laughed it off, sending them the recordings, screenshots, and Dr. Winter's statement. Never heard back. As my lawyer put it, it's hard to claim defamation when the truth makes you look worse than any lie could. I've since learned from mutual friends that Chloe's life has imploded spectacularly. She lost her pharmaceutical sales job after repeatedly missing work and showing up hungover. She's been effectively excommunicated from our social circle. She had to move back to her parents' house in Michigan. Madison's relationship coaching business tanked after our mutual friends shared what happened. Her parents had to eat almost $50,000 in non-refundable deposits for the Instagram perfect wedding, and apparently now blame her for the whole fiasco. The lavish designer wedding dress that her mom spent $13,000 on is still hanging in her parents' guest room closet as a daily reminder of her failure. She tried starting a breakup recovery podcast that lasted exactly 2 episodes before she got drunk and used it to name and shame everyone who betrayed her. The most satisfying part came last week. I received a series of texts from unknown numbers, which I later confirmed were Chloe using friends' phones. Alex, please, I need to talk to you. Everything's falling apart. Please help me. I'll do anything to make this right. I can't find a job, and my parents are threatening to kick me out. They keep saying I embarrassed the family and wasted their money. They won't stop bringing up how much the wedding cost them. Madison won't even take my calls anymore. I'm begging you to just talk to me. I need a loan just until I get back on my feet. My therapist says you're being abusive by ignoring me. You owe me this after what you did to my reputation. I can't believe you're being so petty. I made one mistake. Did you ever even love me? Because a man who truly loved me would forgive this. Are you ghosting me on purpose? Screw you, Alex. You destroyed everything. Please talk to me. Let's have a discussion. I promise we can work through this. The psychological whiplash from begging to demanding to guilt-tripping all within 20 minutes was almost impressive. It's like watching someone audition for multiple roles in the same psychodrama. Then, the cherry on top. A text from Madison. Alex, I know we've had our differences, but I need your help. Chloe is spiraling, and I don't know what to do. She keeps showing up at my apartment at 3 a.m., crying. Could we talk? I think she needs professional help. I responded with a link to Psychology Today's Therapist Finder, and good luck with that. The audacity is breathtaking. They genuinely believe after everything, I might still be manipulated into helping them. The entitlement never ends. It's like watching someone burn down your house and then ask to borrow your fire extinguisher for their next arson project. Even better, Dr. Winters informed me that Chloe filed a complaint against her with the licensing board, claiming the therapist had manipulated the session to destroy her engagement. The complaint was dismissed after I provided my statement and evidence. Chloe then apparently tried to get her parents to sue Dr. Winters for emotional damages. They refused after finally getting the full story from the therapist, with my permission, and realizing how much money they wasted on a wedding that was doomed from the start. Chloe's final desperate move? She created a fake profile pretending to be me on a dating app, using old photos from my Instagram. Her cunning plan was apparently to catfish women, treat them horribly, and ruin my dating prospects. Unfortunately for her, the profile was reported within hours. She used a 3-year-old photo where I'm clearly wearing an engagement party name tag that says, Future Mr. Bennett. Stellar attention to detail. She listed my height as 5 feet 9 inches. I'm 6 feet 2 inches. As for me, I'm doing surprisingly well. The condo is peaceful, no more walking on eggshells, no more subtle criticisms about my friends, hobbies, or career. Trent and I have been hitting the gym regularly and planning a fishing trip to Alaska next summer. Looking back, the red flags were everywhere. The subtle digs about my appearance, the constant comparisons to her friends' partners, the mysterious headaches whenever my family wanted to visit, the way she'd roll her eyes when I talked about work, the Madison-approved shopping sprees on my credit card for wedding preparation, a classic narcissist playbook, and I was too love-blind to see it. But the wildest part? I'm actually grateful for that therapy session. It was like someone finally turned on the lights in a dark room I'd been fumbling around in for years. Sometimes you need to hear something devastating to realize you've been settling for far less than you deserve. I've started dating again, very casually. My standards and boundaries are titanium grade now. And every morning I wake up in my peaceful home, I think about how grateful I am. Not for the experience, as Chloe suggested I should be, but for the escape.